Every morning, before the world speaks to you, your mind speaks to itself. Before the notifications, before the stress, before the responsibilities, before the opinions of others, there is a small conversation happening inside your head, and that conversation determines the quality of your entire day. The ancient Stoics understood a truth that modern psychology is only now confirming. The words you repeat shape the person you become. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever thoughts you plant first in the morning grow throughout the day. If you plant fear, anxiety grows. If you plant anger, frustration grows. If you plant strength, wisdom grows. That is why today I want to share 5 life-changing morning words that can completely transform your mindset, strengthen your character, and help you face life like a true Stoic. These are not ordinary words. They are mental weapons. Repeat them every morning, and little by little, your thinking will change. Your emotions will change. Your life will change. Let's begin. Have you ever noticed how the first few moments of your morning seem to predict the rest of your day? Before you speak to anyone, before you check your phone, before the noise of the world enters your mind, there's a silent conversation happening within you. Most people never notice it, yet that conversation determines whether they walk through the day with confidence or insecurity, peace or anxiety, purpose or confusion. The Stoics understood something profound nearly 2,000 years ago. They understood that life is not controlled by external events. Life is shaped by the meaning we give those events. A storm may arrive for 2 different people. One person sees disaster. Another sees an opportunity to become stronger. A failure may destroy one individual while becoming the greatest teacher of another. The event is the same. The mind is different, and that is why thoughts of the morning matter so much. Your mind is most impressionable when you wake up. It is like a field waiting for seeds. Whatever you plant in those first moments begins to grow throughout the day. If you plant fear, fear grows. If you plant resentment, resentment grows. If you plant gratitude, gratitude grows. If you plant courage, courage grows. The quality of your life is largely determined by the quality of the thoughts you repeatedly entertain. Many people spend years trying to change their circumstances while ignoring the deeper issue. They change jobs, they change cities, they change relationships, yet they carry the same mind everywhere they go. And because the mind remains unchanged, their suffering follows them. The ancient Stoic philosophers taught that true freedom begins when a person stops trying to control everything outside themselves and starts mastering what is within. This is not easy. In fact, it may be the hardest challenge a human being can undertake, because controlling circumstances is often easier than controlling thoughts. Blaming others is easier than taking responsibility. Complaining is easier than improving. Making excuses is easier than growing. Yet every meaningful transformation begins with personal responsibility. The moment you realize that your thoughts shape your experience, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of life. You become an active participant in your destiny. Think about the strongest person you know. Perhaps they are not the richest. Perhaps they are not the most talented. Perhaps they are not the most famous. Yet there is something different about them. When difficulties appear, they remain steady. When others panic, they stay calm. When life becomes uncertain, they continue moving forward. What makes them different? It is not that they have fewer problems. It is that they have developed a stronger mind. And every strong mind is built through daily practice. Not once. Not occasionally. Every single day. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoic thinkers, ruled an empire while facing war, betrayal, disease, and unimaginable pressure. Yet each morning he reminded himself of a simple truth. He could not control what happened around him. He could only control how he responded. Imagine the peace that comes from truly understanding this. Imagine waking up and no longer feeling the need to control every outcome. Imagine no longer depending on other people for your happiness. Imagine no longer allowing circumstances to determine your mood. This is the power of Stoic thinking. It does not promise an easy life. It promises a stronger mind, and a stronger mind can endure almost anything. Many people believe confidence comes from success. The Stoics would disagree. They believed confidence comes from character. Success can disappear. Money can disappear. Status can disappear. But character remains. And character is built through small, daily choices. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, character grows. Every time you choose patience over anger, character grows. Every time you choose courage over fear, character grows. These choices may seem insignificant in the moment, but over months and years, they transform your entire life. Most people underestimate the power of consistency. They look for dramatic breakthroughs. They search for secret formulas. They want instant transformation. But nature does not work that way. A tree does not become enormous overnight. A mountain is not formed in a day. A powerful mind is not built in a weekend. Greatness grows quietly. It grows through repetition. It grows through discipline. It grows through patience. The same is true for your thoughts. Every morning you are either strengthening empowering beliefs or strengthening limiting beliefs. You are either training your mind to become resilient or training it to become fragile. There is no neutral position. Your mind is always being shaped. The question is whether you are shaping it intentionally. Modern society constantly encourages distraction. The moment you wake up, there are notifications, headlines, opinions, arguments, advertisements, and endless streams of information competing for your attention. Many people begin their day by allowing the world to program their minds. Then they wonder why they feel anxious, overwhelmed, and exhausted. The Stoic approach is different. Before allowing the world to influence your mind, influence it yourself. Choose your thoughts deliberately. Choose your attitude deliberately. Choose your focus deliberately. Because the person who controls their mind controls their life. And the person who does not control their mind becomes controlled by everything around them. The reality is that life will never become completely comfortable. There will always be challenges. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be obstacles. But obstacles do not have to break you. In fact, they can strengthen you. The Stoics viewed difficulties as training. Just as muscles grow through resistance, character grows through adversity. Without challenges, courage cannot develop. Without hardship, Resilience cannot develop without struggle. Wisdom cannot develop. Every obstacle contains a lesson. Every difficulty contains an opportunity. Every challenge contains the possibility of growth. The question is whether you are willing to see it. Most people spend their lives asking, "Why is this happening to me?" The Stoic asks a different question. "What is this trying to teach me?" That single shift changes everything. Instead of becoming bitter, you become wiser. Instead of becoming weaker, you become stronger. Instead of becoming defeated, you become prepared. Life is not happening against you. Life is training you, and every morning offers a new opportunity to continue that training. When you wake tomorrow, remember this: you have been given another day, another chance, another opportunity to improve, another opportunity to grow, another opportunity to become the person you are capable of becoming. Do not waste that gift. Do not begin your morning with fear. Do not begin your morning with regret. Do not begin your morning with excuses. Begin it with purpose. Begin it with gratitude. Begin it with courage. Because the way you start your morning often determines how you live your life. And the person you become tomorrow is being shaped by the thoughts you choose today. Words have power because they prepare the mind. They remove the shock of difficulty. They eliminate unnecessary resistance. They create resilience. And resilience is one of the greatest gifts a person can possess. The strongest tree is not the one protected from every storm. It is the one that learned how to bend without breaking. Likewise, the strongest person is not the one who never faces adversity. It is the one who learns how to accept reality without losing inner peace. Acceptance does not make you weaker. It makes you unshakable. It allows you to face truth without fear. It allows you to face hardship without panic. It allows you to face uncertainty without despair. And in a world filled with chaos, that ability becomes a superpower. So tomorrow morning, before checking your phone, before listening to the opinions of others, before allowing the world to enter your mind, remember this first life-changing word. Accept. Accept reality. Accept uncertainty. Accept change. Accept challenges. Accept the present moment. Because the moment you stop fighting reality, you gain the strength to shape your response. And that is where true freedom begins. The first life-changing morning word is simple. Only 6 letters. Yet hidden within those 6 letters is enough wisdom to transform an entire life. The word is accept. Most people hear that word and misunderstand it. They think acceptance means weakness. They think acceptance means giving up. They think acceptance means surrendering to circumstances. But that is not what the Stoics meant. Acceptance is not surrender. Acceptance is seeing reality clearly. And reality is where all true power begins. Imagine a boxer stepping into a ring and refusing to acknowledge his opponent. Imagine a sailor pretending there is no storm. Imagine a doctor denying the existence of a disease. None of these people would be effective because they are refusing reality. And yet millions of people do exactly that. Every day, they refuse reality. They refuse the truth about their circumstances. They refuse the truth about their habits. They refuse the truth about their relationships. They refuse the truth about themselves. Then they wonder why they suffer. The Stoics understood a powerful principle. Pain is often unavoidable. Suffering is often created by resistance. Think about it. A difficult event occurs. Maybe someone betrays your trust. Maybe you lose a job. Maybe a relationship ends. Maybe life takes a direction you never expected. The event itself causes pain. That is natural. But then the mind begins fighting reality. This should not have happened. Why me? This isn't fair. I refuse to accept this. And suddenly, the original pain multiplies. Now there is frustration, anger, resentment, bitterness. All because reality is being resisted. The ancient philosopher Epictetus spent part of his life as a slave. Imagine that. A man with almost no freedom. A man living under the control of others. Yet despite those circumstances, he developed a level of inner peace that many wealthy and powerful people never achieve. Why? Because he understood something extraordinary. No one controls reality. Reality simply is. The sooner you accept what is, the sooner you can focus on what to do next. This is why acceptance is strength. When something happens, ask yourself, can I change this right now? If the answer is yes, take action. If the answer is no, acceptance becomes the wiser path. Many people waste years fighting battles they can never win. They fight the past. They fight aging. They fight other people's opinions. They fight things that are completely outside their control. And because they are fighting unwinnable battles, they have no energy left for the battles that actually matter. Acceptance redirects energy. It takes attention away from what cannot be changed and places it where it belongs. On action, on growth, on character, on wisdom. Consider the weather. You cannot control rain. You cannot command the clouds. You cannot order the sun to appear. Yet imagine spending the entire day angry because it rained. Who suffers? The weather remains unchanged. Only your peace is destroyed. This is how many people live. Not just with weather, with life itself. Reality does not match their expectations, and because reality refuses to obey them, they become miserable. The Stoics remind us that peace begins when expectations surrender to truth. Reality owes us nothing. Life owes us nothing. The universe owes us nothing. And strangely, when you truly understand this, gratitude becomes easier because everything starts to feel like a gift rather than an entitlement. Every sunrise becomes a gift. Every friendship becomes a gift. Every opportunity becomes a gift. Every moment becomes a gift. Acceptance opens the door to appreciation. But resistance closes it. There is a story about a farmer whose horse ran away. The neighbors came and said, "What terrible luck." The farmer replied, "Maybe." A few days later, the horse returned, bringing several wild horses with it. The neighbors said, "What wonderful luck." The farmer replied, "Maybe." Later, the farmer's son broke his leg while attempting to ride one of the horses. The neighbors again expressed sympathy. The farmer again said, "Maybe." Soon afterward, soldiers arrived to recruit young men for war. Because the son had a broken leg, he was left behind. The neighbors declared it incredible luck. The farmer once more replied, "Maybe." The lesson is profound. Most people judge events too quickly. What appears terrible today may benefit you tomorrow. What appears beneficial today may create problems later. The Stoics knew that human beings rarely possess enough information to accurately judge every event. Therefore, they practiced acceptance, not because they were passive, but because they were humble. They understood the limits of their perspective. Think about your own life. How many painful experiences eventually taught you valuable lessons? How many disappointments redirected you to our better opportunities? How many failures helped you become stronger? At the time, those events probably seemed negative. Yet, looking back, you may see them differently. This is why acceptance matters. You do not always know what role today's struggle will play in tomorrow's story. The obstacle you face today may become the reason for your future wisdom. The rejection you experience today may protect you from a greater mistake. The hardship you endure today may prepare you for future success. Acceptance allows life to unfold without unnecessary resistance. Every morning, remind yourself, today, some things will not go my way. People may misunderstand you. Plans may fail. Unexpected difficulties may appear. Traffic may delay you. Technology may fail. Someone may criticize you. Someone may disappoint you. Life may challenge you. But none of these things have the power to destroy your peace, unless you allow them to. The event is external. Your response is internal. And your response is where freedom exists. This idea becomes even more important when dealing with people. Many people spend years trying to change others. They want others to behave differently, think differently, act differently, value different things. But human beings are not machines. You cannot control another person's mind. You cannot force wisdom upon someone. You cannot force maturity upon someone. You cannot force respect, loyalty, kindness, or understanding. The more you try, the more frustrated you become. The Stoic path is different. Accept people as they are. This does not mean tolerating abuse. It does not mean allowing disrespect. It means recognizing reality. People reveal themselves through their actions. Believe what they show you. Accept it. Then decide how you will respond. Acceptance removes illusions. And illusions are often the source of suffering. Many people are not hurt by reality. They are hurt by their expectations of reality. They expected someone to change. They expected someone to understand. They expected someone to care. When those expectations collapse, pain follows. Acceptance protects you from this trap. It teaches you to see clearly. It teaches you to observe rather than assume. It teaches you to respond rather than react. One of the greatest signs of maturity is the ability to accept what you cannot control while still taking responsibility for what you can. This balance is rare. Many people fall into one extreme or the other. Some try to control everything. Others take responsibility for nothing. Wisdom lives in the middle. Accept what is outside your control. Master what is within your control. This is the foundation of Stoic strength. Every morning, before the world begins making demands on your attention, sit quietly for a moment. Take a deep breath. Look at the day ahead. Then say, I accept reality as it is. I accept that challenges may come. I accept that people may disappoint me. I accept that life may not follow my plans. But I also accept my responsibility to respond with wisdom. Those words have power because they prepare the mind. They remove the shock of difficulty. They eliminate unnecessary resistance. They create resilience. And resilience is one of the greatest gifts a person can possess. The strongest tree is not the one protected from every storm. It is the one that learned how to bend without breaking. Likewise, the strongest person is not the one who never faces adversity. It is the one who learns how to accept reality without losing inner peace. Acceptance does not make you weaker. It makes you unshakable. It allows you to face truth without fear. It allows you to face hardship without panic. It allows you to face uncertainty without despair. And in a world filled with chaos, that ability becomes a superpower. So tomorrow morning, before checking your phone, before listening to the opinions of others, before allowing the world to enter your mind, remember this first life-changing word. Accept. Accept reality. Accept uncertainty. Accept change. Accept challenges. Accept the present moment. Because the moment you stop fighting reality, you gain the strength to shape your response. And that is where true freedom begins. The second life-changing morning word is the bridge between who you are and who you could become. It is the difference between dreams and reality, between potential and achievement, between wishing and becoming. The word is discipline. Most people admire success. Few admire the process that creates it. They see the strong body, but not the early mornings. They see the confident speaker, but not the years of practice. They see the successful entrepreneur, but not the countless failures. They see the victory. They do not see the discipline. Yet discipline is where every meaningful accomplishment begins. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that life is not shaped by occasional actions. Life is shaped by repeated actions. What you do every day matters far more than what you do once in a while. A single healthy meal will not transform your body. A single workout will not transform your strength. A single day of focus will not transform your future. Transformation happens through consistency. And consistency is impossible without discipline. That is why every morning, before anything else, remind yourself, today, I choose discipline over comfort, because comfort is seductive. Comfort always offers immediate rewards. It asks for nothing. It demands nothing. It promises ease. And that is exactly why it can become dangerous. Comfort whispers, stay in bed a little longer. Skip today's workout. Start tomorrow. One more hour of scrolling. One more excuse. At first, these choices seem harmless. But days become weeks. Weeks become months. Months become years. And eventually a person wakes up wondering why life never changed. The answer is often simple. They chose comfort repeatedly. Meanwhile, discipline works differently. Discipline rarely feels exciting in the moment. In fact, discipline often feels uncomfortable. It asks you to act when you don't feel like acting. It asks you to continue when motivation disappears. It asks you to stay committed when results are invisible. That is why discipline is so valuable. Anyone can act when they feel inspired. Few people can act when they don't. And those few people eventually separate themselves from the crowd. Think about the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. He ruled one of the most powerful empires in history. Yet every morning he faced responsibilities that would overwhelm most people. Wars, political conflicts, economic challenges, disease outbreaks, betrayals, endless pressure. Still, he understood something important. Feelings could not determine his actions. Duty had to determine his actions. Imagine waking up every morning and waiting to feel motivated before doing what needs to be done. Empires would collapse. Families would suffer. Goals would remain unfinished. Nothing significant would ever be accomplished. The Stoics believed that character is revealed not during moments of convenience, but during moments of resistance. Anyone can remain committed when everything feels easy. Anyone can work hard when excitement is high. Anyone can stay positive when life is perfect. The true test comes when conditions are unfavorable, when energy is low, when obstacles appear, when progress seems slow, when nobody is watching. That is where discipline is born. There is a story about two young men who both wanted success. The first man waited until he felt ready. The second man started before he felt ready. The first man waited for confidence. The second man built confidence through action. The first man waited for perfect conditions. The second man worked with imperfect conditions. Years later, their lives looked completely different. Not because one was more talented, not because one was luckier, but because one understood that action creates momentum. The other remained trapped in hesitation. Many people spend their lives preparing to live. They prepare, and prepare, and prepare, but they never begin. Discipline says begin now. Not because conditions are ideal, but because conditions will never be ideal. The perfect moment does not exist. The perfect opportunity does not exist. The perfect circumstances do not exist. There is only today. There is only this moment, and what you choose to do with it. The Stoics often reflected on the shortness of life, not to create fear, but to create urgency. They understood that time is the most valuable resource a human being possesses. Money lost can be earned again. Opportunities lost can sometimes return. But time lost is gone forever. Every morning when you wake up, you receive 24 hours. Rich and poor receive the same amount. Successful and unsuccessful receive the same amount. Wise and foolish receive the same amount. The difference lies in how that time is used. Discipline protects time. Comfort wastes it. That is why disciplined people often seem calmer. They are not constantly chasing lost opportunities. They are not overwhelmed by unfinished responsibilities. They are not trapped in cycles of procrastination. They act. And because they act, they move forward. One of the greatest lies people tell themselves is, I'll do it later. Later is one of the most dangerous words in the world, because later often becomes never. The book remains unwritten. The business remains unstarted. The dream remains unrealized. The conversation remains unfinished. The potential remains unused. Years pass. Regret grows. And all because discipline was postponed. The Stoics would remind us that the future is uncertain. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. The only moment truly available is now. This realization should not create anxiety. It should create focus. Focus on what matters. Focus on what can be done today. Focus on the actions that move life forward. Discipline is not about becoming harsh or robotic. It is not about eliminating joy. It is about aligning actions with values. It is about becoming the type of person who keeps promises to themselves. Think about that for a moment. How many promises have you made to yourself? How many times have you said, I'll start Monday. I'll exercise tomorrow. I'll stop procrastinating. I'll become more focused. I'll work on my goals. Every broken promise weakens self-trust is essential for confidence. Confidence does not come from positive thinking alone. Confidence comes from evidence. Evidence that you can rely on yourself. Evidence that you will do what you say. Evidence that your actions match your words. Discipline creates that evidence. Every disciplined action sends a message to your mind. I can trust myself. Over time, that message becomes identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who occasionally works hard. You see yourself as a disciplined person. An identity is powerful because people naturally act in accordance with who they believe they are. A person who believes they are weak often behaves weakly. A person who believes they are capable often behaves differently. This is why discipline is more than behavior. It is self-construction. Every disciplined action is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every early morning, every completed task, every difficult conversation, every promise kept, each one strengthens character. The process is not glamorous. In fact, much of it is invisible. Nobody applauds the alarm clock you answered. Nobody celebrates the temptation you resisted. Nobody notices the distraction you ignored. Yet these invisible victories shape visible outcomes. Great lives are built through unseen decisions. The Stoics understood this. They knew that excellence is not an event. It is a habit. A habit formed through discipline. Imagine two versions of yourself. One version chooses comfort every day. The other chooses discipline every day. At first, their lives look almost identical. A week later, little difference exists. A month later, only small changes appear. But years later, the gap becomes enormous. One life is filled with regret. The other is filled with growth. One is defined by excuses. The other is defined by achievement. One wonders what could have been. The other knows what became possible through consistent effort. This is the power of discipline. Not dramatic change overnight. Steady transformation over time. Every morning, when the temptation to choose comfort appears, remember this truth. Your future is being built by today's decisions, not tomorrow's decisions, not next year's decisions, today's decisions. The life you desire is hidden inside. The habits you avoid, the confidence you seek is hidden inside. The challenges you postpone, the strength you admire is hidden inside the discomfort you resist. Discipline is the key that unlocks all of it. So when you wake tomorrow morning, repeat these words. I choose discipline over comfort. I choose growth over excuses. I choose action over hesitation. I choose responsibility over blame. Because every great life begins with small, disciplined actions, repeated consistently. And every morning offers another opportunity to become stronger than you were yesterday. The choice is yours. Comfort or growth. Excuses or progress, convenience or character. Choose wisely, because your destiny is being shaped by what you repeatedly choose. The third life-changing morning word is perhaps the most underestimated of them all. Many people hear it and immediately think they understand it. They assume it is simple, common, ordinary. But what if I told you that this single word has the power to transform suffering into peace, scarcity into abundance, and ordinary moments into extraordinary gifts? The word is gratitude. Most people spend their lives chasing happiness. The Stoics pursued something deeper. They pursued wisdom, and wisdom taught them a remarkable truth. The happiest people are not those who have the most. They are those who appreciate what they already have. Think about how many blessings become invisible through familiarity. The air you breathe, the ability to walk, the ability to see, the ability to think, the ability to love, the people who care about you, the opportunities that still exist before you. Most people notice these gifts only after they are threatened or lost. Until then, they move through life, taking them for granted. The Stoics recognized this tendency. That is why they practiced gratitude. Deliberately, not occasionally, daily. They understood that gratitude is not merely an emotion. It is a way of seeing. Two people can live in the exact same circumstances and experience entirely different realities. One sees only problems. The other sees opportunities. One sees limitations. The other sees possibilities. One focuses on what is missing. The other focuses on what remains. The external world may be identical, but the inner world is completely different. And the inner world determines the quality of life. Imagine waking up tomorrow and immediately focusing on everything that is wrong. The bills, the responsibilities, the unfinished tasks, the mistakes of yesterday, the fears about tomorrow. How would you feel? Heavy, anxious, overwhelmed. Now imagine beginning the day differently. Imagine opening your eyes and recognizing something simple. You woke up. You were given another day, another chance, another opportunity to learn, another opportunity to improve, another opportunity to love, another opportunity to become stronger. How would that perspective change your morning? This is the power of gratitude. It does not change reality. It changes how reality is experienced, and that changes everything. Many people live as though happiness exists somewhere in the future. They tell themselves, "I'll be happy when I earn more money. I'll be happy when I find the perfect relationship. I'll be happy when my problems disappear. I'll be happy when life becomes easier." But there is a hidden danger in this mindset, because happiness becomes permanently postponed. The destination keeps moving, the goal keeps changing, and satisfaction remains out of reach. The Stoics challenged this way of thinking. They understood that if a person cannot appreciate what they have now, they will struggle to appreciate what they gain later. Because gratitude is not created by possessions. It is created by perception. A grateful person can find joy in simple things. An ungrateful person can remain dissatisfied despite abundance. Look around the world. Some individuals possess immense wealth yet remain miserable. Others possess very little yet radiate peace. The difference is rarely external. The difference is internal. It is perspective. It is gratitude. One of the most powerful Stoic practices was something known as negative visualization. At first, this concept sounds strange. Why would someone imagine losing things they love? The answer is profound. Because when you briefly imagined life without something, you begin appreciating it more deeply. Imagine losing your ability to walk. Suddenly, every step becomes precious. Imagine losing your eyesight. Suddenly, every color becomes a miracle dot. Imagine losing someone you love. Suddenly, every conversation becomes meaningful. The purpose was never pessimism. The purpose was appreciation. The Stoics wanted to wake themselves from the illusion that life's blessings are guaranteed, because nothing is guaranteed. Not health, not wealth, not relationships, not even tomorrow. This realization can seem frightening, yet it can also be liberating, because when you understand that life is temporary, gratitude becomes natural. You stop treating moments as ordinary. You begin treating them as gifts. Think about how many people rush through life, always chasing, always hurrying, always pursuing the next achievement. They rarely stop long enough to appreciate where they are. Then years pass, decades pass, and they realize they spent their entire lives waiting to live. The Stoics remind us that life is happening now, not tomorrow, not next. Now. This morning, this breath, this moment. That realization changes everything. When gratitude enters the mind, complaints lose their power. Resentment loses its power. Envy loses its power. Why? Because gratitude shifts attention. Instead of focusing on what others possess, you focus on what you possess. Instead of focusing on what is absent, you focus on what is present. Instead of focusing on scarcity, you focus on abundance. And abundance exists everywhere for those willing to see it. Many people confuse gratitude with passivity. They think being grateful means abandoning ambition. The Stoics would disagree. Gratitude and ambition can coexist beautifully. You can appreciate where you are while still striving to grow. You can be thankful for today while working toward a better tomorrow. In fact, gratitude often fuels healthier ambition, because actions motivated by appreciation feel different from actions motivated by desperation. One comes from fullness, the other comes from emptiness. One creates peace, the other creates endless dissatisfaction. A grateful person can pursue success without becoming enslaved by it, because their happiness is not dependent on outcomes. It is rooted in appreciation. Imagine carrying that mindset into every area of your life. Imagine approaching your work with gratitude, your relationships with gratitude, your challenges with gratitude, even your difficulties with gratitude at first. That last idea may sound impossible. How can someone be grateful for hardship? The answer lies in growth. Consider the strongest qualities you possess today: your patience, your resilience, your wisdom, your courage. Where did they come from? Did they emerge from comfort? Usually not. Most valuable qualities are forged through struggle. The difficulties you once wished would disappear often became the experiences that strengthened you. The heartbreak taught compassion. The failure taught humility. The challenge taught resilience. The uncertainty taught faith. The obstacle taught perseverance. Seen from this perspective, even hardships contain hidden gifts, not because suffering itself is good, but because growth often emerges from suffering. The Stoics understood this deeply. They viewed challenges as teachers, and every teacher deserves appreciation. When you begin seeing life through this lens, something remarkable happens. Victimhood starts disappearing. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What can this teach me?" That shift creates power, because lessons create growth, and growth creates strength. Every morning, before checking your phone, before worrying about responsibilities, before entering the noise of the world, take a moment, pause, breathe. Look around. Notice what still remains. Notice what is still good. Notice what is still possible. Notice what is still beautiful. Then say quietly, "I am grateful for another day." Not because everything is perfect. Not because life is easy. Not because there are no problems. But because you still have an opportunity. An opportunity is precious. The person who practices gratitude daily develops a unique kind of strength, quiet strength, a peaceful strength, a strength that does not depend on circumstances, because they have learned a profound truth. The quality of life is not determined solely by what happens to you. It is determined by what you choose to appreciate. And appreciation transforms ordinary existence into something extraordinary. Think about your future self once again, years from now, looking back on this chapter of your life. What would that future version of you wish you appreciated more? The people around you, your health, your opportunities, your youth, the simple moments that seemed insignificant at the time. The truth is that many things we currently take for granted will one day become memories. That is why gratitude matters. It keeps us awake, awake to the beauty that already exists, awake to the gifts that surround us, awake to the miracle of simply being alive. Tomorrow morning, before the world tells you what is missing, remind yourself of what remains. Before fear speaks, let gratitude speak. Before anxiety speaks, let gratitude speak. Before negativity speaks, let gratitude speak. And when gratitude becomes a daily habit, something extraordinary begins to happen. You stop living from a place of lack. You begin living from a place of abundance. You stop waiting for life to become meaningful. You realize life has been meaningful all along. That is the gift of gratitude. That is its power. And that is why it is one of the most life-changing words you can speak each morning. The fourth life-changing morning word is the word that transforms ordinary people into extraordinary human beings. It is the word that has launched dreams, built civilizations, inspired heroes, and changed lives throughout history. The word is courage. Every human being experiences fear. Fear is natural. Fear is ancient. Fear has existed since the beginning of humanity. The Stoics never taught people to eliminate fear. They taught people to act despite it. That is the difference. Many people spend their entire lives waiting for fear to disappear. They wait for confidence. They wait for certainty. They wait for perfect conditions. And while they wait, life passes by. The opportunity is missed. The dream remains unfinished. The potential remains unrealized. The Stoics understood a truth that most people never learn. Courage comes before confidence, not after. Confidence is often the result of courage. You become confident because you repeatedly face what scares you. You become strong because you repeatedly face difficulty. You become resilient because you repeatedly survive adversity. Think about every meaningful achievement in your life. Every breakthrough, every victory, every moment of growth. Somewhere within that story was fear. Perhaps you feared failure. Perhaps you feared rejection. Perhaps you feared judgment. Yet you moved forward anyway. And because you moved forward, your world expanded. This is how courage works. Fear says, stay where it is safe. Courage says, growth exists beyond safety. Fear says, what if you fail? Courage says, what if you succeed? Fear focuses on danger. Courage focuses on possibility. Every morning, remind yourself, today I choose courage. Not because fear is absent, but because your purpose is greater than your fear. Many people allow fear to become the author of their lives. Fear chooses their decisions. Fear controls their actions. Fear limits their potential. The result is a life filled with regret, and regret is often more painful than failure. Years later, people rarely regret the risks they took. They regret the opportunities they ignored, the conversations they avoided, the dreams they abandoned, the life they were too afraid to pursue. The Stoics believed that death itself should teach us how to live, not in a depressing way, but in an awakening way. One day, every person will run out of tomorrow's dot. One day, every opportunity will end. One day, every excuse will become irrelevant. Remembering this reality creates urgency. It reminds us that life is precious. And because life is precious, courage becomes necessary. Do not wait forever. Do not postpone your growth. Do not delay becoming the person you are capable of becoming. Life is happening now, and now is the only moment in which courage can exist. Word. #5. PRPOS. The final life-changing morning word is perhaps the most important of them all, because it gives meaning to every other word. The word is purpose without purpose. Discipline becomes exhausting without purpose. Courage becomes directionless. Without purpose, success feels empty. Without purpose, life feels incomplete. Purpose is the reason you wake up. Purpose is the reason you continue when things become difficult. Purpose is the reason you endure hardship without losing hope. Many people ask, what do I want from life? The Stoics asked a deeper question. Who do I want to become? That question changes everything. Because life is not only about achievements. It is about character. Not only about reaching destinations, but about becoming worthy of the journey. The Stoics believe that every human being has a responsibility, not necessarily to become famous, not necessarily to become wealthy, but to become the best version of themselves. To live with integrity, To live with wisdom. To live with courage. To contribute something meaningful to the world. Purpose is not always found in grand accomplishments. Sometimes purpose exists in simple actions. Being a good parent, being a loyal friend, helping someone who is struggling, improving yourself every day, living according to your values. Purpose is not measured by recognition. Purpose is measured by meaning. A person may possess fame and still feel empty. Another may live a quiet life filled with meaning and feel fulfilled. The difference is purpose. Purpose gives direction to effort. Purpose gives significance to sacrifice. Purpose transforms ordinary moments into meaningful ones. Every morning, ask yourself, who do I need to become today? Not next year, not someday. Today. Do I need to become more patient, more disciplined, more courageous, more grateful, more understanding, more resilient? The answer to that question becomes your mission for the day. And when days are lived with purpose, life itself becomes purposeful. Final Stoic morning Ritual. Now imagine. Tomorrow morning, the sun begins to rise. The world is still quiet. Before checking your phone, before opening social media, before allowing the noise of the world to enter your mind, pause, take a deep breath, and repeat these 5 life-changing words. Accept reality as it is. I focus on what I can control. I release what I cannot. Discipline A choose. Discipline A over comfort. I keep promises to myself. I take action, regardless of how I feel. Gratitude. I am grateful for another day. I appreciate what I have. I recognize the gifts already present in my life. Act despite fear. I embrace challenges. I refuse to let fear make my decisions. Purpose A live intentionally. I grow through every experience. I become a better version of myself each day. Final message at the end of life. People rarely wish they had spent more time worrying. They rarely wish they had complained more. They rarely wish they had been more fearful. Instead, they wish they had lived more fully, loved more deeply, appreciated more often, acted more courageously, and become more authentically themselves. The Stoics understood that life is not controlled by circumstances. It is shaped by character. Character is shaped by habits. Habits are shaped by daily choices, and those choices begin each morning. So tomorrow, when a new day arrives, remember, you cannot control everything that happens, but you can control your response. You cannot control the entire future, but you can control today's actions. You cannot control how long you live, but you can control how deeply you live. Speak these 5 words every morning. Accept. Discipline. Gratitude. Courage. Purpose. Repeat them. Live them. Become them. And little by little, day by day, year by year, you will discover something remarkable. The life you were searching for was never waiting somewhere in the future. It was being built within you all along. And that journey begins tomorrow morning.